identify yourself and your media outlet.
Chris Wedlick, CBS4 Indianapolis. This is for all three of you guys. Different experience. This is kind of the full March Madness experience. I know last year everybody was in Indy, a little bit different. The year before wasn't a tournament. Are you getting the full effect? Does this feel different? Does it feel like being part of March Madness?
Let's start with Zach and then right down the line, Trevion, and then Jaden, please.
Yeah, I think we're still kind of getting the experience from what I've seen at least. We're still going through it. We haven't really even started our practice yet. It's different doing this media before practices. Obviously last year was kind of more, we had to stay there, go for a week, quarantine earlier, so it's a completely different thing. Everyone's in the same hotel. But so far, yeah, it's definitely a different experience.
Just to kind of piggyback off that, I don't think we've experienced the whole thing yet. Obviously, I've been through it. I've been through it my freshman year, and just going through it last year with these guys. They kind of get a glimpse of kind of what it's like, although it was COVID. But I think once we play our first game, I think everybody will feel, or get the full experience. So.
Yeah, really, it feels normal. I get to go out my room finally. Last year, I couldn't even, step foot out my room. So, it feels normal, and once we, get open practice started, I'll start to feel like, it's the real March Madness. So.
Hey, Jaden, Greg Doyle from Indy Star. I realize perfection's not going to happen, so you're not going to be at your A game, the whole team, every time. But as you look back and you look at film, what's the difference between Purdue when it's pretty good and Purdue when you're really clicking?
When we're pretty good, I think, it shows glimpses of, when we turn the ball over, we make some mistakes on the defensive end. We're not as good, but, when we're really good and we're all clicking, we're all together talking on defense and, just offensively, just making the simple reads. I think we're, the best team in the country.
Hey guys, I was chatting with Coach last night, and he kind of sat back and he said, I've been doing this for 33 years. I've never seen it all the way. I know you guys know that, and I know that's been the storyline all season, is this is a special roster, but have you had any conversations about that, of doing this for Coach Painter? It's been 42 years since Purdue's been to a Final Four, and this is the first step tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely want to do it for him. I definitely want to make a run, for him, because he's given so much to, this team, this university. We're just going to, give it our all, every time we step out on the court. And, that's what we do when we step out on the court. We give it our all for Coach Painter, and, for the team. And, we're just going to, try to do our best, to, bring him, to his first national championship. And, we're going to work really hard to get there.
Trevion, please.
Jaden kind of covered it. Not even just Coach Painter. Just doing it for ourselves. I think we deserve it. I think we've been working hard all year, and we've came short a couple games, and a lot of games that we should have won. And this is kind of our chance to kind of prove ourselves. We've missed out on a Big Ten championship regular season, and then obviously the tournament. So just having those things happen, man, we at this point, we kind of have no choice but to, kind of go out there and play our all. So.
And Zach, please.
Yeah, it's kind of off what they said. There's a lot of people we do it for. Obviously, Coach Painter is one of them. He's a big thing for us, but we do it for our families, we do it for our moms, we do it for our dads, we do it for us, we do it for Coach Painter, our friends back home. There's a lot of whys on this team, but Coach Painter is definitely a big one.
Brian Newbert from GoldenBlack.com. For Zach and Trey, can you guys just talk about what's most important to making sure that your size advantage is as much of an advantage as it can be tomorrow, now that the game, starts to get played a little bit smaller again, and, to make sure that your guys' advantage is as much as you can get from it, and the small ball element, doesn't necessarily hurt you?
Well, just from the past couple games that we've watched so far, you know, the early on games, even the IU game, you know, we've been watching games, scouting, and, you know, the refs, you know, they've been letting a lot of stuff go, and it's going to be, you know, just from watching those games, you can tell it's going to be very physical. Every game is going to be physical. So I just think if we go in and embrace the physicality of the game, we'll be fine. You know, just use our size advantage as best as possible. You know, being smart, just being disciplined, and then obviously, you know, having to guard those smaller teams. You know, for instance, Yale. You know, they're not the biggest guys in the world, but you know, they're going to force us to guard on the perimeter as big men. So, you know, if we just be disciplined, you know, we'll be fine. So.
Yeah, I think our size really comes into play. Coach Painter was talking about it in film. As long as we're physical, as long as we try to get as deep as we can and we don't let them double us, we just get as deep as we can, we finish over the top of them. That's when our size really comes into play, and we can make them pay on the offensive end for maybe some things that they might have an advantage of in terms of defense. So just really playing physical. That's really it.
Olivia Ray again with Wish TV. We watched you guys last year at this time walk off the court with a lot of emotion and stunned against North Texas. Did that discussion even need to happen this year of this can't happen again in the first round, or how much are you going to lean into the feelings you felt last March leaving Lucas Oil Stadium?
Well, I mean, we've been watching film on that game. At least I have, and you know, I know we have a couple times as a team, but we've watched film on that game pretty much all summer, and that was kind of our drive and our motivation, you know, becoming a team that we were or that we are, and you know, it still motivates us to this day, and you know, you appreciate experiences like that because, you know, these guys were freshmen and they were young and they didn't know what they came into it. They didn't know what to expect. You know, coming to the tournament, and you know, now they know what it feels like. You know, you know, just in March Madness, you never know. You can be beaten on any given night. You got to respect everybody. Everybody's here for a reason, and you know, like I said, they've been through it. So now that they know how it feels, you know, I believe it's going to drive not only them but you know, our team. So.
Yeah, Mike Carmen, Lafayette Journal-Courier for Zach and Trevion. Is there a part of you that's looking forward to getting away from Big Ten teams who know your every move and know everything about you guys, that maybe you'll get a little bit more freedom down low?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one thing that we kind of said going into March Madness is that in the Big Ten, like, most teams have been playing the same style of basketball for like 30 years now. So everyone knows exactly how each other plays. Everyone knows the sets that they run. So getting out of that and kind of teams have to do play us on like a 2 or 3 day scout. It's going to be a lot different. There's going to be a lot more things that are kind of open just because people don't have all that time to prepare for us. It's tough. I mean, it's hard to simulate some of the pieces that we have on this team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just kind of getting that fresh feel like we had at the beginning of the season before we started the Big Ten play.
Brad Brown from WRTV in Indianapolis. Trevion, you've played on a team that made a deep turning run. What have you shared, or what can you share with these guys about what it takes to navigate these next couple of weeks for something like that?
I mean, like you said, I have been a part of it. You know, as a freshman, I didn't play that much, but you know, when my number was called, you know, I had energy. You know, I was ready to go. And you know, these guys are different because they both start now. And you know, as a freshman, I was on the bench, and I was coming off the bench, I should say. But you know, one thing I always try to tell those guys is just, you know, try to respect every team, and just have most importantly, just have fun, man. This is the best time of year. You know, this is the time where you should have fun. It's a time when you come together with your team and really trust each other. You know, I don't say much, but one thing I do say, I just always tell them to have fun. You know, Jaden and Zach, I tell them before every game, you know, don't worry about anything else out on the court, just have fun. That's it. So.
Hey, Jaden, for you again, Dennis, can I ask two, or am I
No,
stuck?
go ahead.
Greg Doyle, Indy Star, Trevion, really quickly, and Jaden, I'm going to want to know what you said to make him giggle later. Tell me later. Trevion, really quickly, you said you watched that film a lot in North Texas. Is that your choice, or Painter wants you guys to watch it?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. You know, coaches, we've had times where coach will pull us in the film room, and you know, we'll watch a couple clips. You know, I know when we started our first set of like summer workouts, you know, coach had us watching that film, and you know, in summer you're like, well, the season's not here, so what are we watching film on? And it kind of made me wonder. And the first thing he pulled out was the North Texas film, and you know, that's something you don't expect as a player. You know, obviously it was heartbreaking to go through. It was a hard pill to swallow, man. And but you know, that's something he started out with in summer. You know, he wanted to kind of build that foundation and let guys know, like, you know, here's where we are and here's what we need to do to get better from it. And you know, I've obviously, you know, watched my own film. You know, I couldn't stop thinking about it after the loss. I think I watched it every other week after. Man, it was just, like I said, it was a hard pill to swallow, you know, because I truly believe in our team, and I know we're better than that, so.
And then Jaden, you guys are in one game at a time mode, I would assume, but still, there is a big picture here. Are you allowed to talk about what your big picture goal is? Like, you guys arrived here, what's going to make this a successful month?
Obviously, we have the, you know, big picture, you know, as a national championship. Everyone, you know, dreams and has goals of winning a national championship. But you just have to approach it one game at a time. And, you know, I'm ready to hoop, for real. You know, I don't like waiting, you know, to play games. But, you know, I'm ready to hoop, and I'm ready to get going with my team.
Steve McGargy, Associated Press. For Jaden, I was just wondering what you remembered about playing on that under-19 team with James Jones, the Yale coach, last summer. Anything sticks out about him or anything like that?
He actually texted me, I think a couple of weeks ago. He just said, you know, good luck with the rest of the season, and, you know, you're doing well. And, you know, I appreciate Coach Jones. He taught me a lot, just, you know, from an emotional standpoint. I'm an emotional type player, you know, on the court, and, you know, he just said, you know, just keep a positive attitude about you. And, you know, Coach Jones is a great coach, and, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Jaden, Olivia Ray here with Wish TV again. I told you I caught up with your mom yesterday for a little bit before they were heading out to their tournament game. She told me they scheduled practice tomorrow from 11 to 1 so she can watch you. She packed her Purdue shirt. I also talked to Coach Painter about it. He said, you guys are going to try and watch their game on Saturday, but he actually admitted that he thinks you play a little bit better when your mom is in the stands, and it's unfortunate she can't be there, but how are you guys, I guess, embracing each other, embracing your separate opportunities while both going dancing at the same time?
You know, we're just super blessed to just, you know, be in this position, and, you know, I just think, you know, it's just what God's done for us, you know, to put us in this position. You know, both of us are in March Madness right now. You know, we're doing what we love to do. You know, it's just a blessing, and, you know, obviously I'm not going to have her in the stands, but, you know, you know, she's going to be rooting for me, and I'm going to be rooting for her. So, and, you know, I don't want to see her. You know, I want to see her go far. So I don't want to see her in the stands, and, you know, I know she doesn't want to see me in the stands. So, you know, I'm just, you know, so blessed to be here, and, you know, I know she's, you know, super excited, you know, to get her journey started too, so.
For Zach and Trevion again, is it easier or harder to play in the post against smaller guys as opposed to your kind of traditional 6'10", 7-foot guys you see more in the Big Ten that you don't necessarily have to worry about, you know, squashing?
Honestly, it's a little tougher, you know, because you kind of got to worry about guys flopping, and you know, I don't really know how to explain it, but I don't know. It just teaches you to be physical with everybody. I would say with the smaller guy, it's different. You know, you got to worry about. You know, we're so big, and those little guys kind of get under us, and they try to get into us, take our ball. So I would say it's tougher with the little guy, whereas with a big dude, you know, you can kind of bang a little bit and be as physical as you want. And I mean, but that's just how things are. You know, with smaller guys, they send doubles a lot. So, I mean, it just prepares you for whatever they throw at you. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. Obviously, when you have smaller guys on you, the other team will prepare like they know that, so they'll send double teams at you. They'll tell their guys to try to sell some fouls. You have to really watch like what you're doing with your arms. And even sometimes when you do nothing wrong, they just fall over and you get the foul anyways. Just because they're smaller and they're allowed to do a lot of different stuff to you, but it's just a different game, really. Obviously, it's easier to get deep post position. It's easier to back them down, but you just have to worry about just a completely different game, really, when you're playing a small guy.
Then for Jaden, for as much as we're talking about getting the ball inside, you guys have been really good all year in transition. Is there anything you guys have to do or want to do to, you know, kind of get out in the open floor a little bit more? Is it about forcing turnovers? Is it about mentality? What's kind of the secret sauce there?
I think the biggest thing is getting, you know, rebounds, and I think we did a good job against Iowa. I think we won the rebound battle, but you know, we had turnovers, and you know, I think when we, you know, cut the turnovers and just make the simple reads, and you know, that just, you know, opens up, you know, a lot in transition, you know, for us to get going.
Last one.
WRTV again. Trevion, this is also serious, but we often see some smiles come from the guys. Who's the guy on this team that relaxes it or kind of breaks the mood or kind of keeps things a little bit light when you guys need a moment to just kind of relax?
I don't know, man. I guess I can say myself. I try to be positive all the time. You know, with this season and just everything going on, man, you constantly have stuff just coming at you, coming at us as a team, and I try to be that guy and that voice. You know, I try to keep everybody level-headed, try to keep everybody happy, smiling. Even this dude, you know, he tries to, when he gets in game mode, he's like straight face. Like, you know, I just tell him when he's out there, man, just have fun. I try to tell him to smile all the time. This dude too. I don't know, man. I guess you can say I'm the guy, and I've kind of accepted that role on our team. Just being an energy guy, you know, being positive, being happy. It does more than you think, and you know, I think they appreciate it. So I try to, you know, it's also something, you know, I've learned to do, and something I've grown into. I used to be the quiet guy on the team. You know, I was always to myself, and you know, as I grew up and as I got more mature, you know, I found out that, you know, that's kind of being selfish. You know, because as a team, you should be able to open up and talk to guys and you know, be honest with them, and I don't know, just keep them level-headed. So, like I said, it's something I've grown into, but I've definitely accepted it, you know, as a senior and as a leader on this team.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Good luck tomorrow. Joined now by Purdue head coach Matt Painter. Questions, please.
Brian Newbert from goldenblack.com. Matt, what do you have to do to make sure the dynamics of you guys playing really big and some of these teams you're going to play being smaller goes in your direction the best it can?
Yeah, don't turn the ball over more than anything. Just, you know, be efficient on the offensive end, make good decisions, take what they give us. You know, if they're going to overplay things and sag and double and triple team, just make easy fundamental passes and move the basketball and get them in a rotation. Just, I think when we come in with predetermined thoughts and don't play off our instincts, that's where we struggle. no matter who we're playing. I think we've proven that throughout the year. When we just take what people give us, we've had a lot of success.
Next question for Coach.
Steve McGargy, Associated Press. Just wondering, what's the biggest thing that sticks out when you look at Yale on film? What is it that catches your attention and impresses you?
Probably the number one thing is how hard they play. I think anytime you can go through a season and you get to the end and you gotta win your tournament. I've always had respect for the coaches that have to win their tournament and just the resolve of their players. It's so much on you as a player and a coach to know, hey, we got to win the quarterfinals, the semifinals, or the championship game to get into the tournament. And it happens to a lot of people across the country. It's very hard. And one game can just knock you out to where you might not even make the NIT or another one of the tournaments. And so it's very hard to do that. But once those type of teams get in there, like that's the concern. Like these guys here have been up against it, and they've played so well and they've played so hard. But Coach Jones does a great job with his group. I think they defend really well. They have positional size. A lot of people will kind of go overboard about our centers and size, but there's still four other positions out there, and they have great positional size in those positions. And those combo forwards that are athletic and strong, they can cause a lot of problems for you by taking away things and getting into passing lanes.
Hey, Matt, Greg Doyle from the Indy Star. You've been to the tournament a ton. I know that. I believe this is the first year Purdue's ever been number one. So I'm guessing this tournament, entering it, I'm wondering, how different does it feel pressure-wise? Because this year is not like a lot of years you've had.
Right. Well, we've been a higher seed before. We were a 2 seed once before. We've been a 3 seed before, so it's our second time being a 3 seed. I think we've been a top. We've never been a 2 seed?
I don't know, but this is the best team you've ever had.
Best team? I thought you were saying seed.
Best team you've ever had. Whether it is or not, that's my point. Is the
you enunciate better in the hallway than you do with that speaker. With that.
And let's just go back there.
Yeah, this is the first team we've had that started the season in the top 10 and finished in the top 10. We have really good size. You really don't worry about it. You get to your next game. You respect your opponent. You understand what March Madness is all about. You're on a neutral court. And, you have to play the right way. You have your functionality as a team. You can't get away from your strengths, and you want to do your best to, stay away from your weaknesses. And I know that's kind of coaches talk, but it's so true. And I think that's the focus for us. And I think sometimes when you struggle at something, we turned the ball over 10 times in the first half against Indiana. And we then won 6 straight games. But then we turned the ball over in the next game. And so we win a couple games in our tournament, but then we get into that last game when we turn the ball over again. So that's reared its ugly head with us. But yet we've proven that we can get that fixed and go on runs and not turn the basketball over. So I think that's the focus for our team, is to be efficient offensively, take care of the basketball, and then we're really going to help ourselves defensively if we do that.
Coach, Olivia Ray here with Wish TV. Of course, we brought up North Texas to the guys. Trevion actually told us that I think it was one of the first summer workouts, and you actually brought in the North Texas film and started showing it to them.
Correct.
So I wanted to know what went into your thought process there of starting to show it 10 months ago, and what kind of flip or switch that flipped for your team almost a year ago.
Well, it just goes to the last question, is some of the possessions that we had in the North Texas game and not taking care of the basketball, especially in the first half. We'd like to have those possessions back, just like we like to have some offensive possessions back in the Iowa game and the game at Indiana that I mentioned, and a couple others. That is what's going to send you home. Like be intelligent as a player and as a team and understand, okay, it's no different than playing time. Like understand what gets you on the court and understand what gets you off the court. Everybody wants to talk in theory. There's no theory to it. Like take care of the basketball, make simple plays. If they want to double team you, get the ball out of your hands. If they want to cover you one-on-one, be aggressive, things of that nature. But, that's your start. If you don't learn from your losses, then you're a fool. And that's all I was trying to do, is like, hey, let's learn from our loss of North Texas and use it as a springboard for next year and put ourselves in a great position, which I think we have. we've put ourselves in a great position. But Yale has also put themselves in a great position. You know, you just got to get into this tournament and then go out and have fun and play to your strengths.
Mike Carmen, Lafayette Journal-Courier. Follow up with that. Is that something you did that was unique to this team, knowing you had everybody back, or is this something that you had done in previous years with teams to start some film stuff like that in the summer?
I don't do it a lot. I've done it a couple times just to kind of, you know, plant that seed, especially if you have a tough loss like we did. But to credit to North Texas and Coach McCaslin, I thought they played better than we did. Even if we'd have won that game, I thought those guys really played well. But no, just trying to use that loss. You know, you always got to take your losses and use them and learn from them, and that's what we were trying to do. And I think that's important for us to really hold on to is just the efficiency of the game and playing the game the right way. Because there's a handful of those possessions we'd really like to have back.
Coach, Olivia Wright with Wish TV again. I was listening to Coach Jones talk earlier, and he referenced your relationship, his relationship with Zach Edey and Jaden Ivey. I know the basketball world is small, community is small, but how unique this is to step on the court with him, and how great of a job that he's doing at Yale.
Oh, he's been fabulous. Obviously, he's been there a long time, I think 23 years. But he was an assistant for our U19 USA team last year and did a great job and got a gold medal, and Coach Caleb First and Jaden Ivey and competed against Zach Edey. So he's very familiar, you know, with our guys. And he's a basketball guy, you know, through and through. Him and his brother have, you know, been in the game a long time. And so, like, those guys get it. They understand it. And he's been great for Yale. And I've always said that about if more coaches would get that opportunity to have that longevity, I think you'd see more positive returns. And they've obviously seen that at Yale, especially here in the last 5 years with going to the tournament 3 times.
Coach, Andy Craig with the Exponent. I was going to go back to when you're talking about turnovers, like thinking about the IU game, Michigan State, I mean, the most recent Iowa game.
There you go.
So you said that we can usually kind of put a stop to that and go on our own run. What's kind of the first thing when you call that timeout after 6 straight turnovers? You know, what are you putting in the players' heads to kind of get back on a roll?
Yeah, I normally get to that timeout before 6, though. I'm normally right at 3. The 3 in the row normally triggers me, but I understand your point. Just keep it simple. I think, you know, everybody and the guys that cover us all the time probably get sick of me saying it, but turnovers it's not just one thing. You know, it can be you're traveling, your bad passes, your pick sixes, offensive fouls in the post. There's a lot of different ways to turn the basketball over, and there's a lot of teams in the country that prove that. I just don't want to be one of them. And just trying to get them to settle down. Sometimes we leave our feet when we pass too much, things of that nature. So whatever has happened, just settling them down, getting them to focus on, you know, what we're trying to get accomplished and how they're defending things. Are they doing something different than what we prepared for? A lot of times, no. Like, a lot of times, people that mix things up a lot normally aren't very good at one thing. They're just trying to surprise you. But the people that do one thing normally get pretty good at that one thing. They might change it a little bit. So a lot of it's ball screen coverage and a lot of it's post doubles for us. But when it's just carelessness that has nothing to do with the opponent and, you know, Purdue's beating Purdue, then those are the ones where you just got to settle down and settle into the game. We handle some things differently sometimes in terms of, like, when things don't go our way, instead of being more simple, we'll try to do more, like we're going to get it all back in one possession, and that's not the right way to go about it. When we do it the other way and we settle into the game, we normally have success.
Can you tell us about Yale's offense and what makes Swain so good and what you need from Eric in that matchup?
Yeah, well, Swain is one of those guys that's a threat, you know, right as he steps onto the court. You know, he can shoot off the dribble, he can play in the mid-post, he can obviously catch and shoot. He can dribble into threes. He's just got a real mature pulse to his game. And then obviously he's got a lot of times guys that can shoot the ball, there's something where they can't do. If you make them dribble, you make them go one way or the other, you know, now their percentages really drop. And with him, you know, he can do all of it in terms of scoring the basketball. And so you really want to be able to take up his space and make it hard for him like you would any other scorer or shooter. But, you know, guys, when you have a guy out there that can get 30, 35 points in a game, you know, as a coach, that always scares you. But offensively, they have good balance. You know, they have guards that can really drive the basketball. He can, he's a guy that can really score the basketball. But the other guys, Gabadon's had, individual games where he's scored in the 20s, 30. They have guards that can drive the basketball. Nolan's a guy that's a kind of a matchup nightmare with his athleticism and his quickness. They're guys, Kelly and Jarvis, they can drive the ball there. They can score at the rim. So, they have good pieces. They do a good job with their spacing and kind of their ball screen motion. They do some different things out of it. They have some quick hitters that they can go to. So, they spread you out, and they really try to come and attack people that they think they have a mismatch with, whether that's in the post or driving the basketball.
Last one.
Swain seems like a pretty physically mature, physical sort of guard. Does he compare it all to Pickett and A.J. Hoggard from the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, I would say more Pickett, but obviously he shoots more threes than Pickett. Pickett's a guy that, East Coast guy, obviously played at Siena, scored a lot of points, scored over 2,000 points. He can really get you off balance and then step back and shoot that fade away. He's a more prolific shooter, though, than him. He's more of a scorer, where Pickett's more of a playmaking type guard, too, where he can get other people involved. So I would say a little bit, but I would say Swain, from a scoring standpoint, is probably a little bit better.
Coach, thank you. Good luck tomorrow. A reminder that a recording of this will be available in the NCAA Digital Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts will be available as soon as possible and will be posted shortly. We'll have Texas student athletes at 12:35. Thank you.